Today you are on top of my camera. You can see all of the images that I take as well as all the settings that I take them with. So come with me today for full wedding.
Taylor Jackson.
Shooting 67 weddings last year.
Taylor Jackson, welcome.
So Taylor, you are well known in this community. You're an amazing photographer.
Quick interruption before the video. I'm uploading a new video to my Patreon every Monday for wedding photographers. Those are videos exclusive to Patreon. Every first Monday of the month is a behind the scenes video, similar to the one you're about to see. So click over there if you want a new exclusive video every single Monday. Welcome to the on-camera video. As you can see, all my settings are going to be on my LCD up top there. And I'm also going to show you all the images that I take. Within reason, this is an 8-hour day. I don't want to make this an 8-hour video and show you 600 images, which is typically what I deliver. I usually start off by just photographing details and let the bridesmaids and the bride kind of warm up to the fact that there's going to be this dude just creeping around with a camera for the next little bit. So I usually do detail shots kind of within audible range of them so that I'm a little bit more of a known once I start just grabbing candid photos of them. I know earlier in this course I talked about only using the 24 and 35 millimeter lenses as my wide lenses, but I just picked up this 28 and I absolutely love it. I'm shooting it wide open most of the time throughout the day here, but I love the way that it shoots details and I love the way that it shoots people, and it's a perspective that I haven't typically used for getting ready shots. I'm usually more at the 85 end of things rather than a wide, but I shot a lot with this 28 and I really enjoyed the results. I would say that this is a typical wedding for me in the sense that the bride and groom just want some good photos of their friends and family and a couple of photos of them, but they don't want to do a 3-hour photo session over 5 locations. So I'm pretty much just along for the ride to grab everything that happens, and then typically we'll get about 5 to 10 minutes to actually do photos with the couple, which I know might not seem like a lot, but that's kind of what I'm used to working with. And then usually we'll go out for another 5 minutes over sunset, which we will get up to today. This 28 millimeter lens, absolutely killing it. I love that I have to get a lot closer than I usually would. Usually I'll be at 50 or 85, and that is my comfort zone. Today I have to get to 28, so I have to get really close and really in there, which brings me out of my comfort zone and makes me create something that I wouldn't typically create. And I never shoot this scene on a wide, and I'm shooting this on a 28 today. And as you're going to see in a couple seconds here, I absolutely love the images that I got. Usually again, like I'd be at 85 or 50 and just really nice and close, not really showing what is going on in the scene. But today the room was super clean, so I know that I could go wide, and I'm very happy that I did. I don't think that there's an official right or wrong way to photograph a scene like this. Obviously, if you're shooting with like a fisheye or like a 10 millimeter lens, maybe that is technically incorrect, but within reason, if you shoot this with an 85 or you shoot this at a 24 or 35, I don't think that anything could be considered wrong as long as you're capturing the proper emotion of kind of what's happening. And you kind of work within the conditions that you're given. Today, it's a very clean room, not a lot of people getting ready in this specific room, so we're able to go wide and it's just not cluttered. Whereas I've definitely been in some hotel rooms that I can't really shoot less than like 135 because everything is just chaos. So go in and tidy things up if you want to get wide, or just kind of work within those conditions and shoot everything at 85. All right, we're going to move on to the guys prep now. I don't do a whole lot with the guys. This is maybe 10 minutes start to finish, and I photograph all the details as best I can. I kind of gauge an interest level of how much they actually care about the details and things like that. These guys just want pictures of people. They are here to hang out and enjoy the company on their wedding day. They don't really care about stuff. Obviously, I am going to get a few photos of kind of the important things, but I'm not going to spend 10 minutes setting everything up and making it look absolutely perfect when I could be photographing them. I am a single shooter today. Ryan is doing a couple video clips, as you can see over here, but for photography, it is just me today. Alright, and I might grab one last photo of you. You just want to kind of be centered in front of the window here by the bed. All the lines kind of line up, and even if you want to kind of like adjust your time, just pretend you're still. I would say that my style is over 90% candid throughout the day, but I will step in and kind of just pose quick shots kind of on the fly like that. I usually don't do it a whole lot once the day actually starts to begin. I would rather just kind of let them enjoy their day, especially a couple like this that we're not doing photos during their cocktail hour because they actually want to talk to their guests, and they're also not inviting me in for the first look, which is the first time that's ever happened, and I really respect it, and it's really cool that that they wanted to do that. So they did their first look, and then we came in a few minutes after they invited us in and grabbed these few quick photos. And now we're going to go do about 5-10 minutes of photos with them, followed by 5-10 minutes with the wedding party, and maybe another 10 minutes with the family once all family arrives.
So I might get you guys right about there. And even if you just want to kind of hold hands and walk towards me over here. The pros at the walking and the holding.
I'm now using the 135 f1.8 Sigma lens.
Perfect. And if you guys want to stop right about there, and exactly what you're doing there. I was further away from the tree than I thought. That's good. Perfect. And I'll make you hold hands and go that way just so that I have a shot of the back of your dress as well. Perfect.
We pretty much just kind of walked around and grabbed a few photos with the Sigma 135. As you can see, there is literally no background when you shoot with this thing wide open or near wide open, which I actually really enjoy. And we pretty much just stuck to any area with shade. Any open shade, we did some photos there. It's the middle of the day. It's variable cloud today. So it's a little bit sunny, as you can see in the background here. But the dynamic range actually held together pretty well, even though that is kind of the bright sun in the background there. You might notice that I take a lot of photos really fast all the time, and that is because I would rather just overshoot and then have to go through and select afterwards rather than miss the exact perfect right frame, because that is something that you can't get back, unfortunately. They made this amazing backdrop with this neon sign, so we definitely used it as much as we possibly could, and it was the probably best photo booth, I would say, of any couple's creation in my time as a photographer.
And can I make everyone talk to each other and laugh and whatnot, be candid? Alright, that's great.
I'm really an advocate of showing what I want to be shooting online, and I do not show a lot of wedding party shots and all kinds of different combinations and things like that. I basically just do kind of the basic, everybody smiling, looking at the camera, everybody looking good, and then usually one candid one, as well as close-ups with the groom and bride and each of their groomsmen and bridesmaids. As you can see, not a lot of shade on the property, so I really have to, for such a large wedding party, find basically the one spot that we can possibly use and do everything that we can there, which we did.
That's good. Perfect. Alright, that's awesome. And can I make everyone talk to each other in between you're having a hilarious conversation that's super candid and amazing? Oh my god, that's so funny. Alright, if you guys all want to walk towards me and do the same awkward conversation thing, just try to not, make sure I can see your face.
The reason that I shoot so many frames is because of all of those frames, this is the only one that I actually like of them all. There's a lot of people, a lot of variables. I like the ones of them standing. That is better for larger groups. For smaller bridal parties, it's a little bit easier to make them all walk and talk, but this worked out well. And also because it was shade for like 5 minutes, we kind of utilized that with the couple as well. Took a walk up and down this pathway and got some photos. I think that's kind of a thing that I look for pretty much all day at a wedding, is that as soon as the lighting conditions are ideal, I will shoot a lot of candids, or I will shoot photos of the bride and groom, or just anything I possibly can. And if people are in bad light, if they're in the sun, anything like that, I usually just kind of ignore that and ignore them until they come into good light, and I can do that. So I always hang out near the good light and kind of set up shop there, because I know that those photos are going to be a heck of a lot better than something shot in kind of the blinding sun. All right, next up, we're going back to that shade spot, and I'm doing all the family photos. I have the Sigma 135 on, and I think that that's fine. I usually shoot these with the 70-200, but I have the 135 on today, and I'm actually really enjoying the colors and specifically the brightness that seems to come off of it in the shadows. So I really dig that. And for family photos, pretty much I just get everybody in a line and I make sure nobody looks awkward, and I'm always shooting candids in between because I know that all the important people are within a short distance. So I'll have a group and I'll take those pictures, and then I'll turn around and I'll shoot some candids of everyone that's there. And I find that I typically get a lot of the best candids of the day. For the ceremony, I'm always shooting my 70-200 unless I'm somewhere that's really, really dark at nighttime. But during the day, definitely on this lens. Also, pretty much the most challenging sun conditions right now. The sun is just beating down on absolutely everybody. It is variable cloudy, so I've actually switched to Aperture Priority mode, which is not something that I've ever done before. But I decided that it was just easier today because the sun and clouds were changing up so quickly that just for peace of mind and to just know that I'm not going to be way underexposing things, I switched to Aperture Priority. And the way that I'm kind of approaching this situation right now is that I know that this side of their face that I'm standing on is going to be in the shadow, and I know that that's the most flattering light, so I'm going to hang out over here and photograph as best I can to not get any direct sun right on this side of their face, which is working out pretty well so far. I also do my best not to block the groom from seeing his bride and different things like that. This is usually the spot that I pretty much stay for all of this period of time, whether I'm doing photo or video. I usually don't creep too far out in the aisle unless it's the kids coming down with the balloons here. And I get on their level, I crouch down so that their faces are, I guess, in the middle of the frame rather than just always shooting down on them, because it's not the correct way to photograph children, I don't think. Super happy with the photos that I got from this. You'll see them in a second. I just kind of grouped all the ceremony shots together after the end here. And he is currently playing his bride down the aisle on the guitar, and she's about to come down. And also, it's about to get cloudy. Spoiler alert, I guess, because I was there. But these clouds coming in, the absolute perfect timing. Super happy about the clouds. I also always do my best to get a reaction shot of the groom. Usually I keep my camera just on him until the bride's basically just where the people kind of ended there. But this is a special case because he's playing the guitar and he's also kind of focused on that, I think, as well. So I knew that I wasn't going to get the same reaction shot that I typically would. But very happy with the photos that I got. Very happy that it got cloudy, just in time to get basically the most important shots of the ceremony with the bride walking down the aisle with her mom and dad. So here are all the photos that we took during the ceremony, or at least a sampling of them. And I don't try to get anything too creative. I'm simply here to document this part and not screw it up. So I want to make sure that everything's properly exposed and focused, things like that. And also properly lit, or as best they possibly can be as far as lighting goes. I know that this is by far from the ideal scenario, but I think it was pretty good. And I really, really enjoyed these shots here of the kids. I guess one other thing is that I tend to shoot a lot wider if it's sunny. If it's not sunny and it's good light, I'm really close. Like, the light on him is good right now. And the light on her is also good right now. But if it's sunny, I will shoot closer to 70 if I'm using the 70-200, or I might even put on like a 24-70 or something crazy like that, depending on kind of how I'm feeling the day. But again, I don't think that there is a right or wrong way or right or wrong lens choice for a ceremony, as long as you can get close enough to get reactions in people's faces, and also make sure that it's in good light as well. I always stay on the outskirts of the wedding. I'm never in between the bride's parents and the bride, or the groom's parents and the groom. I'm always kind of out this way, and I know that I have enough range that I can get people when they speak and things like that, and I don't have to like lay down in the middle of the aisle, things like that, because I think that just looks bad. I know that it's something that is kind of glorified online, that like, whoa, look at what this photographer did to get the shot. but shooting, I would say, mid to higher end weddings, it's not something that I really want to be doing for in front of my couples and to make myself kind of the center of attention when the couple should be the center of attention. So I hang out in the background. The only time that I come up into the aisle like this is for the ring exchange as well as the first kiss. And other than that, I'm either at the very, very back of the aisle obstructing no one's view or on the sides. Another thing that I'm doing right now, if you see my settings switching from 24 to 36, is I'm actually putting my camera into crop mode. I have the front bottom button that's on my bottom small finger, and it switches my camera into crop mode, so I lose some of the megapixels, but I get the extra zoom. So for the ring specifically, if I'm zoomed into 200, I can hit that button and I can be shooting at 300, only at like 10 or 12 megapixels, but I'm okay with that as an exchange for getting a little bit closer without actually getting super close to them physically. And I noticed that it was getting a little sunny right now, and they're about to walk down the aisle, so I put the 7200 down and I went for the wider 28, and I'm very, very happy that I did that because here's the sequence of this. And also it got cloudy as soon as I started taking pictures with the 28, so very, very lucky with the variable cloud timing this wedding day. And since I know all the couples walked down in the blinding sun and those photos are not going to be so good, I actually stuck around and got the photos of them all coming back down the aisle. Again, just kind of waiting for the good light to happen, and when it does, kind of capitalize on that. Cocktail hour is the only time of the day that this actually feels like work, that wedding photography feels like work. I don't really love cocktail hour. I know that it is part of the job, and I know that I need to get good candid photos, so I do it, but it's not my first love when it comes to the wedding day. But pretty much my strategy is I usually have an 85 prime or a 7200, or in this case, the 135. And I just kind of cruise around, and anybody that looks like they're having a good time, I kind of hang out near them as long as they're having a good time in good light. I hang out near them and just wait for them to smile. And as soon as they smile, just snap a frame, snap 2 frames, and head along. At this time, I also go and shoot the details because typically everything's all set up in the tent today. By this point, and they've lit the candles, things like that. So I do a quick little pass of that as well, because to just kind of cruise around cocktail hour for over an hour is not going to be the most entertaining photographically for the couple either. But you can get so many good photos in this time, and again, it's capitalizing on the good light when it happens, and a lot of the guests were in the shade or near the tent, so everything worked out super well for cocktail hour as well. Usually at this venue specifically, everyone will be in the sun, so I have to just kind of hang out and shoot into the sun so that at least their faces are in the shade. But that really limits the photos that I can take because I can only really photograph from one direction. Today, luckily, I could photograph from all directions. I also photograph a lot of the food because I know the caterer, and I know that the caterer is going to want some food for either their website or their Instagram or whatever. Again, it's good to just kind of have as many people out there using your photos as possible. And that's how you create brand ambassadors kind of all across the board, that when the couple goes into the wedding venue, that they tell the couple about you. And when you talk to the caterer, your name comes up. When they go to the caterer's Instagram, your photos are there. That it's just the surround sound effect of people talking about you or your picture just being everywhere. And that definitely 100% books you more weddings in the future years to come. Again, good light in here, so I'm photographing a bunch of candids still of specifically of the family tables, the tables that I know are family, just to get a few extra photos of them for the gallery. Also, look at how slow my shutter speed is getting. I'm shooting at 135, and it's like dipping down to 1/80th of a second and 1/60th of a second. Luckily, they're all sharp, but easily these all could have just been useless photos that are all blurry and out of focus. So don't shoot aperture priority. Maybe shoot manual like a professional should, and like I should have been at this current moment of time. I think I switched right now is when I realized that I was still in aperture priority mode. But lots of good candids, good light, and a lot of people laughing usually during this time. And during entrances, people are just happy and clapping and smiling. And usually during the MC's intro speech, everybody laughs too. So you do a quick few laps kind of the room and get all the photos that you possibly can. And then you leave everyone alone because there is such thing as you just being around too much. During the first dance, again, just kind of staying on that 135, and instead of going for the 28 and getting closer, I'm just going to walk really far away with the 135 to get a wider room shot. But I found that if you photograph first dances really wide, that maybe you'll get 90% of people in the frame all looking good, but you're gonna get somebody like just looking awkward or not looking at the couple and kind of breaking the photo. So I find that I shoot this a lot closer with everybody out of focus, so that if somebody's doing something weird or looking away, that it's not as noticeable. And that seems to have saved me quite a lot of first dance shots. And again, I'm not doing anything too crazy artistic wise. I'm just getting those clean images in good light where everybody looks good. And I find that those are the best images that you can capture for the couple. That sure, there's lots of like really interesting off camera things you can do. You can give them the halo, backlight them, all kinds of stuff. But I think that this just kind of is what the day was.
Right here where it's still a little bit sunny on you. Yeah, right there. Take one step kind of this way just so you're back in the sun a little bit. Right there's good. And you can get this close together and just pretend we're not here. That is fantastic. Alright, and you guys can just look at each other. We're all kind of sun blasted and backlit, so. That looks great.
Also, I don't use the vertical grip on my camera because I don't like to re-grip my camera while I'm using it. I feel like that's how I'm going to drop it. So I find that just rotating my camera is fine for my wrist. If I'm shooting in a studio, I will use the vertical grip. But if I'm just shooting on a wedding day, I don't. I like it for the stability it gives, but I don't love it for the shutter button.
If you want to take a little walk down here, and then I think
we're good.
We're probably good, yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, you guys are on cue, you know, and okay. And if you want to get a little closer and maybe just kind of center yourselves just a little bit more. Good. And you can look at each other and just pretend you're... Awesome. And maybe one last one, just exactly like you are, and just smiling, facing me. This is that family shot that everyone's gonna want.
Always get that shot. That is the most important shot of the wedding.
Yeah, everything looks amazing. I'm super happy.
Great, thanks.
Cool. I think that concludes the formal photos.
So that's it. It's pretty simple. Find good light and make people look good, and also adapt to how many or how few photos they want. And always remember to have a good time, because if you're smiling and enjoying yourself, everyone is going to believe that you've done an amazing job before they've even seen a single picture. So always smile, always have a good time, make friends with staff, and enjoy your life as a wedding photographer, because it's a pretty wicked job. See you on the next video. If you're interested in learning my advanced marketing secrets and getting over 9.5 hours of wedding photography content, click the link in the description.